new skills maybe to fix something else.
The other one's a little simple, figuring out jumbles, puzzles, crossword puzzles,
Yep.
things like that. I love the jumble.
Did you have your hand up?
Well, I was gonna say, bike, I hate to be a broken record, but biking kind of does all that for me.
Yeah.
I do a little bit of meditating when I bike, I'm exercising, my mind is just totally going everywhere, and then not going anywhere, just kind of meditation.
Yeah.
And I do learn skills too, as well, so learning how to be better in shape and that kind of stuff. So.
Yeah. You're also exploring. Get to be
Yeah,
out
being outside.
and being outside.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
When you were talking about eudaimonic happiness, the light bulb went off. My job, actually, I get to, get to help a lot of people. I get to meet a lot of people. I have to continuously learn, and that's pretty cool.
Yes, and ideally, yes, I would say ideally, hopefully your job should bring you a lot of eudaimonic happiness. I hope that everyone's job, you do find meaning and purpose in it. Hope you're authentic, and yeah, I think your job should challenge you where you need to build skills. So yeah, hopefully people should. That's a very good point. So, I just wanted to explain these at least 3 types of happiness here to get you thinking more about yours. The last section I have here to go over is, my advice on how to lead a more joyful life. And I first got into this in the Peace Corps. The first time I served was in Kyrgyzstan, which is one of the poorest countries in Central Asia. And it's also in the Peace Corps. We're in about 60 different countries. It's known as a hardship state, which means a lot of volunteers end up leaving early. It's called early termination. And I was able to maintain, for the most part, an overall positive attitude. And my second year in, one of the staff members said, we have a new group of volunteers coming. Could you give a talk to them on what you do to stay positive here in this country? I said, I've never done anything like that before. Yeah, sure, yes. And I came up with, I started this list of 10 habits, 10 things that I do to maintain a healthy and happy lifestyle. So that's when I first got into kind of this field of happiness and wellness in general. And that's where this started out. I don't have time to go over all 10 of those habits, so I'm just going to talk about a couple really important things as far as leading a joyful life. So, knowledge is a commodity. All of us know eating vegetables is good for us. All of us know exercising is good for us, meditation is good for us. None of that's new. Knowledge is a commodity. Any advice, knowledge you get, it's all going to come down to self-discipline. It's all going to come down to self-discipline. You could know what you need to do, but you have the self-discipline to do the hard things, to get whatever it is you're going after. So it all boils down to self-discipline. And what I talk about, I also do life coaching. And what I talk about with anybody is know your habits and your routines. Everybody has habits. Habits you do throughout your day, mental habits. And whatever we consistently do with these habits, we become. So whenever I work with a life coaching client, okay, let's write out your habits, good and bad. So be aware of your habits, and all a routine is a chosen set of habits. So be aware of your habits and choose habits, choose routines that you know are going to bring you happiness, whatever that may be. It's different for everybody. So be aware of your habits, make your routines. And then here's one of my favorite quotes, and this is something I think a lot of youth is missing. Sweet are the treats of adversity. Sweet are the treats of adversity. When we put ourselves in situations that maybe make us feel a little uncomfortable, maybe a little awkward, and we need to grow in some way or other in those situations, that's where we grow as human beings. And a big issue now with a lot of youth is maybe anytime there is a situation like that, just hop in here. This is comfortable for us, it's easy. And so a lot of youth aren't challenging themselves. They aren't experiencing adversity. They want to stay comfortable. And I was the same too as a kid. The only reason I wasn't because my mom forced me to play sports. If my mom didn't force me to try sports, baseball, basketball, swimming, whatever, I would be a couch potato. I'd still be playing video games probably. But she said, no, you are at least gonna try sports. And eventually I fell in love with one. Mine was soccer, and now soccer and mixed martial arts. And dancing. Love me some dancing. Really good for mental health too. So sweep other treats of adversity. So challenge yourself, whether that's intellectually, emotionally, physically, etc. It's really important for us. And then, 4 things as far as leading a joyful life I think are really important. So those are kind of like the basics. 4 things: community. Dunbar, I think her name is Lori Dunbar, is a very famous sociologist. And there's something called the Dunbar number. And she looked at societies and she felt that healthy societies had certain groups. Tribe was, I believe, 150. Clan, 50. Superfamily, 15. But what's known as a Dunbar number, whenever you hear people talk about it, it's you should have 5 intimate friends. You should have 5 friends that you are ride or die with, that you could be yourself around and be as comfortable as possible with them. 5 friends. 22% of millennials, my generation, 22% say they have no friends. That's a scary number. So have community, have at least 5 good friends. Your greatest moments of joy are going to come through relationships, through other people. So focus on them. Movement, we've talked about it before. Move your body. Notice I didn't say exercise. Exercise can be a dirty word for a lot of people. They think about being in the gym. Move your body. We're made to move. Humans, we could climb, we could roll, crawl, dance, swim. We're made to move. Enjoy this body and move. Great sleep. Sleep does a lot for us. It's basically therapy while you're sleeping. Helps us lose weight, connects neurons, we learn better. Sleep's great. So focus on getting solid sets, 6 hours to at least 7.5 where you're out. Uninterrupted sleep. 1 cycle is an hour and a half. So if we break a cycle, so the more we sleep, we go here, another cycle, we go deeper. The deeper down, the more healthy healing that happens. But if we break our cycle, it starts over. So if you wake up every 3 hours, you're only getting to this level of healing and regeneration. So do your best to get a solid night's sleep. Last, yoga and meditation. I know they're 2 different things, but they're very similar. And if I was forced to choose an activity that would help people be as happy and healthy as possible, it would be yoga and meditation. You don't need to go for an hour and a half class. I'm talking 5 minutes in the morning, 5 minutes at night. But those 2 things will help you more than anything else. Last thing I'm going to say here before I go into question time. There was a really interesting study, and this person wanted to find out if there are any societies that didn't have any cases of depression. Do we think he was able to find any? Show of hands. Was he able to find any? No cases of depression?
Yeah, I think so.
He was. He was able to find a number of communities that actually did not have depression. And he studied them, and he found 6 commonalities between all these societies. The only hedonic source, as it's something you take those from it, was omega-3 fatty acids. Number 2, he said they had anti-rumination strategies, which basically means that they were busy. They were using their hands, they were working. The Amish is one of these societies. Another, a lot of them were tribal societies where they're doing a lot. So they didn't have a lot of free time. Number 3, exercise. A lot of that for them was natural exercise. They need to hunt to get their food. Number 4, social support, as we've already talked about. Number 5, good sleep. And number 6, light exposure. So this is, a very condensed version of the mental health crisis happening in the United States. These are some tips on how to be as happy and healthy as possible. I do hope that I've inspired you in some way, that you've learned something today, and that you could help other people with the knowledge. your time. I'm now opening it up if anybody has any questions. Yes?
When can we look at the other side of this?
You can now look at the other side. So when I work with orphanages and schools in developing countries and here in the United States, these are some of the 10 habits that I go with. And these are the 10 habits that developed from that first talk that I gave from the Peace Corps trainees. And I'll send out, with George's blessing, I have another document that goes into a little bit more detail of each of these 10 habits. That has some resources, some links there for you for these 10 habits. Again, it's not a very large document, just very brief and basic.
Yep.
Any other?
Questions for Jared?
Yes?
Are you available to speak more? I'm going to be a lieutenant governor starting in October. I'll be running these monthly meetings with like the whole division.
Mhm.
It'd be great if you can come to one of the PCs and do speak.
Yes, I would love to. Usually when I give activations, they're more interactive. So I usually do more activities where you're getting up, some icebreakers, you're having fun, you're moving, more activities, or because I want to be talking a little bit, and I'd rather have there be more interactive stuff.
Probably about the same amount of time, so maybe some quite similar to what we did today.
Yeah. Yeah, and I am looking to speak. I want to get this message out to the whole world. So I'm absolutely looking for more speaking
Yeah, I'll
opportunities.
shoot you an email.
Thank you. Thank you. Yes.
What's the name of the country where you were serving that was difficult or?
Kyrgyzstan.
K-U-R-E?
Kyrgyzstan. Kyrgyzstan. Very small country in the middle of the former Soviet Union.
How long did it take you to learn how to spell that?
That was our first test. It was a hell of an experience. I mean, I owe so much to the Peace Corps, and I love it. But yeah, it's definitely. I have so much more gratitude now after that experience. Yeah.
You know, you mentioned something about the percentage of depression that's increased over the time in 1950. Your personal opinion, what do you attribute that to? Maybe overpopulation or sedentary versus being mobile? I mean, in the 50s, people used to stay around home, but now they don't. I mean, we move all over the United States, families aren't even together.
Yeah. So I think it's screen time. If I had to choose one thing, and I forgot to mention a really important correlation. So they monitor the happiness of youth. So they have different statistics they use to monitor the happiness of youth as far as face-to-face social interaction, healthy sleep, all these different categories. And it was going like this. And right around 2012, it looks like this. Very, very sharp decline. There's another line that's going like this, and also right around 2012, it goes the exact opposite direction. And that other line is time spent on the screen. So there's that, and as far as the 1950s goes, before cell phones, any guesses on what the fastest distributed technology was?
The iPhone.
Huh?
The iPhone.
Before the iPhone. Before the iPhone.
50s. Be television.
Television.
Yeah.
Television by far the fastest distributed technology. And so before television, if you wanted human interaction, you had to go out and get the human interaction. But TV, and he talks about this in his book, Bowling on TV, screen time, it tricks the human brain. We think it is. We think we are getting that social connection, but we're not. And I would say that if I had to choose the biggest factor, I would say it's screen time. Because when you're on a screen, you're being sedentary, and you're usually isolated for the most part. So if I had to choose one, it would be that. There are other factors, but that, in my mind, would be the biggest. Any other questions? I know George is looking at it.